So we're leaving Lisbon right now, and we're on the way to Sintra. So Sintra is a town and municipality in the Greater Lisbon region of Portugal, located on the Portuguese Riviera. So I left Lisbon about 8:30 in the morning, and we're driving right now towards Sintra. The population of the municipality of Sintra is about 378,000 people based on 2011. So right now we're at Sintra. So Sintra is a major tourist destination in Portugal, famed for its picturesqueness and for its numerous historic palaces and castles. Sintra is also a major luxury dining and tourism destination within the Portuguese Riviera, as well as one of the wealthiest municipalities in the country, and is known for the numerous notable events. The historic center of the Villa de Sintra is famous for its 19th century romantic architecture, historic estates and villas, gardens, and numerous royal palaces and castles, which resulted in the classification of the town and its historic passage as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Sintra is similarly known for its numerous gardens and nature parks that you're going to see in this video as well, including Sintra Cascais Natural Park and Sintra Mountains and beautiful Pena National Palace that you will see later on as a residence of the King of Portugal. Sintra is consistently ranked as one of the wealthiest and the most expensive municipalities in both Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula as a whole. Sintra is one of Portugal's most expensive and sought after real estate markets, famed for its numerous historic villas, luxury estates, and Michelin-star restaurants, and is home to one of the largest foreign expats communities along the Portuguese Riviera. Sintra is similarly known for its high standard of living, consistently ranking as one of the best places to live in Portugal, and prices here in a dining almost 2-3 times higher than what you can find in capital of Portugal, Lisbon. So right now I'm taking some views and walking around Sintra, and then we're gonna stop at one of the famous, I was told, bakery place in Sintra that actually started its operation about 19th century, and that place, it's famous for its own pastries that they bake there, cakes. So I love pastries. I know you can gain some weight, but I decided to try. So we're on our way to this beautiful bakery, and right is on this corner of the street, the place called Piriquita. That's the place. So I'm gonna take you inside so you can look at those beautiful delicious pastries here. So the one I tried, it was this one, coconut with chocolate on the right, and the one that's right here on the right, which was like a roll with the almond paste and cream inside. So it was really delicious, absolutely incredible. So about Sintra. So Sintra is a former royal residence of a king of Portugal. So royal family of Portugal used Sintra as their summer residence, and a beautiful castle which you're gonna see at the end of this video was constructed there, which contains different architecture style, some of them from Christianity, some of them from Buddhism, some of them from Islam. So it was a combination of religion was built within one palace, which you can observe, and it's absolutely magnificent and lovely. So this is a park around Sintra. So we're walking around, and there is going to be one of the beautiful houses of the noble person that lived there and built this house, and But finally it was kind of abandoned first and then was taken over by Japanese. They tried to convert it into the hotel, but the government refused, so now it belongs to the government as part of the historic site that attracts a lot of visitors. So it's that palace is right there from the far, but we're gonna get to it later on. So there is one famous nobleman by the name of Antonio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro. So what he did in this area, he built this interesting, mind-blowing, they call it initiation wells, that we're gonna see it soon. We're gonna get to it. So he was born to the a rich Portuguese family in Rio de Janeiro, and then finally he gained so much fortune by selling coffee and jams from Brazil, and he was finally able to relocate to Portugal and build himself that beautiful house in Sintra that we're gonna go and look at it. And this interesting initiation wells that they call it, it's like sign of hell and sign of heaven. So if you're going down the stairs, it's like you're going down the hell. So we're going down here. So this is initiation wells. Are two wells on the property that resembles underground tower lined with stairs. These wells never served as a water sources. Instead, they were used for ceremonial purposes that included tarot initiation rites. But people get what I was told, that they think that Antonio, since they know he was he was for monarchy, he worked for the monarch, but they thought that he was part of he was a Freemason. It's kind of teachings and practices of the secret fraternal men-only order of free and accepted Masons. It is the largest worldwide secret society. So that was the thing that was built in order to practice this type of ceremony. So there is several exits from there. One is easy, one is difficult. One goes through fire, through the water. So we took this exit to get out through the water, but you have to go through the stones, step on each stone, and to get out of there quickly, and making sure watching your steps so you're not going to end up inside of this water. So that's the story what we were told about Antonio, if he really were part of Freemasonry or he wasn't, because they call him Monteiro dos Milhões, Monteiro the Millionaire, because he was entomologist. Like I said, born to Portuguese parents in Rio de Janeiro, he inherited a huge family fortune, which he enlarged in Brazil, and then he moved to Portugal. He received a degree in law from the University of Coimbra, and then finally he relocated to Sintra and built there his magnificent estate, which is that one where we're going right now. So right now we're on the way to the palace of Mr. Antonio, the millionaire guy. So Quinta da Galera is a palace historically located in the center of Sintra, Portugal. So we're going right now, but before we stop in this little chapel, and you see, if you're gonna see, we just we saw that the Freemason sign. So that's what the kind of guess comes, that probably Antonio, millionaire, belonged to society, secret society of Freemason. That's another chapel that constructed next to his house. So his palace, his house, this one, is classified as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO within the cultural landscape of Sintra, along with other palaces in the area. Like Montserrat and other. This is one considered one of the principal tourist attraction. The property consists of a romantic palace and chapel and luxurious park that features lakes, grottos, wells, benches, fountains, and exquisite construction. So this palace was designed, by the Italian architect Luigi Manini that Antonio Augusto Carvalho Monteiro brought directly to this place. So this is the house, the Palacio de Regalera, bears the same name as the entire estate. The structure's facade is characterized by exuberantly Gothic pinnacles. The palace contains 5 floors, ground floors, 3 upper floors, and the basement. The ground floor consists of a series of hallways that all connected the living room, dining room, billiards room, balcony, some smaller rooms, and several stairways. In turn, the first upper floor contains bedrooms and a dressing room. The second upper floor contains Carvalho's Monteiro's office and the bedrooms of female servants. The third upper floor contains the ironing room and a smaller room with access to the terrace. Finally, the basement contains the male servants' bedrooms, the kitchen, which featured an elevator for lifting food to the ground floor, and storage room. And so then that park we just passed, we saw it. It's much of the 4 hectares of land in the surrounding estate consists of densely treed park lined with myriad roads and footpaths. And decorative, symbolic, and lovely structures can be found throughout the park. So this is the house of this famous person, Carvalho Monteiro, and the estate was later sold in 1942, I was told, to Valdemar Doré, who used it as a private residence for his extensive family. He ordered repairs and restoration work to the property. In 1987, the estate was sold once again to the Japanese Aoki Corporation, and ceased to serve as a residence. The corporation kept the estates closed to the public for 10 years until it was acquired by the Sintra Town Council in 1997. So extensive restoration efforts were promptly initiated throughout the estate. It finally opened to the public in June 1998 and began hosting cultural events. So in August of that particular same year, the Portuguese Ministry of Culture classified the estate as a public interest property.
Si quieres ir ahora, vamos a pasar por lá porque sí, le encontramos.
So now we're on our way to Cabo da Roca Lighthouse. So Cabo da Roca Lighthouse is a beacon lighthouse located 165 meters, 541 feet above the Atlantic Ocean on Portugal's and continental Europe's most westerly extent. So it's located in the civil parish of Colares in the municipality of Sintra, and the operation originally it's the third order lighthouse, which began operating in 1772. It was the first new purpose-built lighthouse to be constructed in the country. So the lighthouse stands 22 meters at its base. In addition to the main tower, the complex is composed of 9 buildings. Since prior to electrification, it was necessary to marshal a team to maintain the lamp, store valuable equipment, and produce acetylene necessary to run the torch. So here there's a beautiful view of Atlantic Ocean, and weather was absolutely perfect, and you can enjoy the fresh breeze from the ocean. and just take a stroll around and just enjoy this beauty. Now we are on the way to Cascais. Cascais is a municipality in the Lisbon district of Portugal, located on the Portuguese Riviera. So Cascais is an important tourist destination. Its Cascais history as a popular seaside resort originated in the 1870 when King Louis I of Portugal and the Portuguese royal family made the seaside town their residence every September, and thus also attracting members of the Portuguese nobility who established a summer community there. Cascais is known for the many members of royalty who have lived there, including King Edward VIII of the United Kingdom, King Juan Carlos I of Spain, and King Umberto II of Italy. Exiled Cuban President Fulgencio Batista was also once a resident of the municipality. We are on the way to the Pena Palace. Palacio de Pena is a romanticized castle in San Pedro de Penafirim in the municipality of Sintra on the Portuguese Riviera. Castle stands on the top of a hill in Sintra Mountains above the town of Sintra. And the palace is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the seven wonders of Portugal. And the castle history started in the Middle Ages when a chapel dedicated to Our Lady of Pena was built on the top of the hill above Sintra. According to tradition, construction occurred after an apparition of the Virgin Mary. In 1493, King John II, accompanied by his wife Queen Leonor, made a pilgrimage to the site to fulfill a vow. And his successor, King Manuel I, was also very fond of the sanctuary and ordered the construction of monastery. And for many decades, after the earthquake in 1755, and majority of the monastery was destroyed, went to the ruins, but the chapel escaped damage without significant destruction. So for many decades, the ruins remained untouched, but they still astonished young Prince Ferdinand. In 1838, as the king consort Ferdinand II, he decided to acquire the old monastery and all of the surrounding lands, the nearby castle of the Moors, and a few other estates in the area. King Ferdinand then set out to transform the remains of the monastery into a palace that would serve as a summer residence for the Portuguese royal family. The commission for the Romantic style rebuilding was given to Lieutenant General and mining engineer Wilhelm Ludwig von Schwege. Schwege, a German amateur architect, was much traveled and likely had knowledge of several castles along the Rhine River in Germany. The construction took place between 1842 and 1854, although it was almost completed in 1847. King Ferdinand and Queen Maria II intervened decisively on matters of decoration and symbolism. Among others, the king suggested medieval and Islamic elements to be included in the palace, and he also designed an ornate window for the main facade. After the death of Ferdinand, the palace passed into possession of his second wife, Elisa Hensler, Countess of Edla, and later then sold the palace to King Louis, who wanted to retrieve it for the royal family, and thereafter the palace was frequently used by the family. In 1889, it was purchased by Portuguese state, and after the Republican Revolution of 1910, when monarchy was abolished, it was classified as a national monument and transformed into a museum. The last Queen of Portugal, Queen Amelia, spent her last night at the palace before leaving the country in exile. The palace quickly drew visitors and became one of Portugal's most visited monuments. Over time, the colors of the red and yellow facade faded, and for many years, the palace was visually identified as being entirely gray. By the end of the 20th century, the palace was repainted and the original colors restored. In 1995, the palace and the rest of cultural landscape of Sintra was classified as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The Pena Palace has a profusion of styles much in accordance with the exotic taste of the Romanticism. The intentional mixture of eclectic styles includes the Neo-Gothic, Neo-Manueline, Neo-Islamic, and Neo-Renaissance. Much of this has been evident since major renovations in 1840, and the interior of Pena Palace was adapted to serve as a summer residence of the royal family. It has amazing stuccos painted walls in trompe-l'oeil and various revetments in tile from the 19th century, forming part of the numerous royal collections. I had incredible pleasure walking around this palace and enjoying the rooms and much preserved, saved original furniture, even though the pictures and photos were not allowed inside of the palace, but I was able to sneak a little bit and to take the videos of the rooms of this palace, including study room of King Ferdinand, a bedroom of the Queen of Queen of Portugal. So when I said that when his original wife, King Ferdinand, died, he married Elise, Countess of Edla. And Elise, she was a Swiss-born American actress and singer. And the morganatic second wife of the King Ferdinand of Portugal. She came to Portugal to perform, to sing opera, because she was famous American opera singer. King Ferdinand fell in love with her, and eventually they got married. On June 10, 1869, Elise married morganatically the former King Ferdinand II of Portugal, Prince of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha. And just before the ceremony, Ernest II, Duke of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha, a cousin of Ferdinand and the head of House of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha, granted to Elise the title of Countess of Edla. The marriage was childless. They did not produce any children. So this is part of the rooms. This is Indian-inspired room, and so I had incredible time enjoying this beautiful palace, walking around, and from the outside and inside, and just feeling the history and memory type of the past. And it was my pleasure to be there. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and I hope you also enjoy this video. And this basically concludes my last day in Portugal with the magnificent Pena Palace. Just has incredible architecture and is very inspiring. And that's the end of my stay in Portugal. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.